The house on Blackwood Lane. There was an old house at the end of Blackwood Lane that no one ever stayed in for long. The real estate company dressed it up nicely in their listings. Historic countryside home with character, plenty of space, and beautiful wooded views. But the locals never called it historic. They called it the Ashford House, after the family who once lived there and vanished in the fall of 1972. All 4 members of the Ashford family disappeared in a single night. Dinner plates were still set on the table when neighbors noticed the lights burning until morning. When police entered the home, they found no signs of struggle, no bodies, just a faint smell of smoke. The case went cold, and the house changed hands again and again. Faced forward to now. A man named Daniel bought the property cheap, hoping to flip it. He was practical, no nonsense, and not the type to believe in ghost stories. He moved in with the idea of living there while he renovated. The first night was uneventful. The second, though, Daniel woke at 3:12 a.m. to the sound of footsteps above his bedroom. That was strange, since the only room upstairs was the attic, which had no finished flooring. He told himself it was probably an animal, maybe a raccoon. But the steps were too slow, too steady, like someone deliberately pacing. On the third night, he woke again at the exact same time, 3:12 a.m., into the same footsteps. He turned on the lamp and shouted up at the ceiling, "I hear you!" The pacing stopped. Silence. He stayed awake until morning. Nerves taut. Dust everywhere, old boxes. A single window nailed shut. But in one corner he noticed a patch of wood that looked newer than the rest, cut into a perfect square. A trapdoor? He tried to pry it open, but the wood wouldn't budge. That night the pacing returned, only this time it did stop when he shouted. It grew louder, circling directly above his bed. The boards creaked and dust sifted down from the ceiling. Daniel's courage cracked. He bolted outside and slept in his truck. The next morning, furious with himself for being afraid of nothing, he returned with a crowbar. He attacked the suspicious patch of wood in the attic until it splintered. Beneath it was a square hole leading to a narrow crawl space. The air that drifted up was stale, heavy with the same faint, burnt smell reported decades earlier. Inside the crawl space, Daniel found something he could never explain. 4 impressions in the dust, shaped like bodies lying side by side, arms at their sides. The indentations were clear, as though people had been resting there only hours ago. But the strangest part? The dust hadn't settled in the indentations. It seemed disturbed, as if something invisible still lay within them. That night Daniel didn't sleep. He sat awake in his living room with the base lawn at 3:12 a.m. Every bulb in the house flickered and died. In the silence that followed, the smell of smoke grew stronger, choking, acrid. He could hear breathing, not his own, but several people inhaling slowly in unison from just behind him. He turned his head, but there was nothing. Still, the breathing grew louder, closer, until it was at his ear. A whisper brushed across his skin. "We never left." Daniel fled the house that night and never returned. The property's back on the market now, its listing polished and pleasant. Waiting for the next owner. The locals don't bother warning buyers anymore, because they know anyone who goes into the Ashford House never lasts long.